you guys, Merry Christmas Eve. Today's Vlogmas video is going to be, hold on. Today's Vlogmas video is going to be an eyebrow routine video because you guys have been actually requesting it like pretty frequently. So I figured while I get ready to go to my mom's house for Christmas Eve, I might as well just show you guys how I do my eyebrows. This is what my face looks like without brows. These are my natural brows. Yeah, I've had pretty full eyebrows my entire life. They're completely different shapes because I had stitches in this eye. So this eye is like, I don't know, my eyes are different shapes. So like having stitches in this eye kind of like lifted this eyebrow a little bit more, if you can tell. Like this one has like more of an arch here, whereas this one is like more, you know? But yeah, I just work with what I got. I'm not one to like make my eyebrows exactly the same shape, like try to make them exactly the same shape, because it's just not gonna work. It's just gonna give me a headache every single day of my life. My brows already give me enough of a headache. So speaking of headaches, this weave is giving me a fucking headache right now. But yeah, let me just go ahead and show you guys how I do my brows. So in my routine, I usually prime my face before I do my brows because I do them first, and because I feel like you need to put your primer on before you put on anything so that it can prime for those things, because I do carve out my brows with concealer. So I feel like I need to prime so that that concealer goes on top of the primer instead of just bare skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and just spray this NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray first. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use my Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer. That's just the primer I decided to use today, ew. And like I said, I do my eyebrows before the rest of my makeup just because I feel like my eyebrow products adhere better to my skin before I put on foundation and like the rest of my makeup. That's just me. Obviously everybody has like a different order of the way they do their makeup, but I have almost always done my brows first. It's just the way I do it. I feel like my eyebrow pencil can be like really slippery on my eyebrow when there's foundation on it, you know? So yeah, that's just the way I do it. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so I can show you like the actual brow. Okay, you guys, you all probably know, if you're not, like if you actually watch my videos and this isn't your first video that you're seeing, you probably know that my brow product of choice is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I use the shade Soft Brown. I've tried a bunch of different pencils in my time, and this is the one I always go back to. It's just the best in terms of application. It's got a really nice, precise, like teeny tiny little tip, and then it also is really nice and waxy. The formula is waxy, so it's not too slippery, and because it's so waxy, it actually like adheres to your skin and stays on all day. So that's really why I like this. And they also have a bunch of different shades. I have Soft Brown. I used Soft Brown when I was a brunette. I use it now that I'm a blonde. I've tried to get lighter colors of the Brow Wiz, but they just never like fit. I think it's because my eyebrow hairs are so dark. It just never looks right. So I just keep using this and it looks fine. So basically how I start, I usually start with my right eyebrow. I don't know why, it's just like the way I attack my face. I start right at the tip and I kind of trace along like I make a line from start to end and kind of define and like make it a straight line rather than like all these jagged lines. So one straight line following the natural shape of my brow. And then I bring out the tail a little bit because I like my brow to be a little bit longer than what it naturally is. And then from there, I take the pencil and up here, I just start making tiny strokes up. And that's gonna fill in all the sparse areas, but also kind of look like hair. Like you're not gonna like just color it in like a marker. And if you ever go out of the lines, the spoolie on the other end is gonna be your best friend. It's kind of like an eraser and a blender all in one. So then I'm just gonna keep doing these little like hair strokes all along any sparse areas throughout the brow. And you're just gonna do that all along until you have like a clean line and you've filled in the gaps. So then from there, I take it and I go right, I start like at this point because I don't like to do like one straight across line from the top, because this, I like to be like a little bit more feathery and like not as like blocky. So I start about here and I just go ahead and do like short strokes to fill in this part, because this is where I have a lot of like baldness, and make like kind of a straight line to meet up with the tail at the end. And then I'll go ahead and start doing short strokes in the brow for like any sparse areas that don't have as many hairs. And then I'll just go over here and do some more feathery strokes, do a little fill in right here a little bit, just basically like play with it until it's nice and full. And then you can always go back in with your spoolie. I like to do this at this point. Brush all the hairs up and then like work around from there. You might need a little bit more on the end, you might need a little bit more in the middle. But yeah, that's basically it for this brow. So as you can see, the difference. This might have went up a little bit too far here. But don't worry about like making any little mistakes because I do carve up my brows with concealer, so like we can clean it up at the end. So then this eyebrow, we're just gonna do the same thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, just brush all your hairs up before you start. That's really gonna give you like a good guideline, especially on the bottom, of where it needs to be filled in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start here and start this line. This brow is like wonky because it like, I don't know, it's like full here and then it has like a dip and then it's not here. So I kind of have to like connect it. Yeah, so then it's really this part on this brow that I need to fill in. This is like where it's really baldy. And then also just brush up the top with these little short strokes. And then this one I like to start at the tail because this part is like really awful. So I like to start at the tail and just like make that first. Make the tail first, and then you're gonna go up here and connect it to the tail. So make this like little arch right here. But doing the tail makes it a little bit easier for me. So if you have that issue right here where like your arch is like really spotty, just start with the tail and then like work your way forward. And then I'll go back in and work my way back towards the arch. For the rest of the brow, fill up here. Make sure it's like all one size, like I don't want it to like dip at all. Then I'll go ahead and brush the hairs up. Yeah, so if I was to be grooming my brows, which I'm not going to do today, I would do it at this point. I like to fill in my brows first and then groom them because I feel like you're less likely to take off more than you should that way. Because if you start plucking your eyebrows and you get all those stray hairs without them being filled in, then you're more likely to like take off what you actually shouldn't have because it helped you when you were filling in your brows. So I would fill them in and then I would go in with some tweezers. I don't wax, I tweeze, and I would just go ahead and get any little stray hairs. I have a few here. Go ahead and get those. I did my eyebrows like a few days ago, so they're not terrible, but sometimes they're freaking animal. So I gotta go ahead and do that. But then I go ahead and just set my brows with some brow gel. I talk about this one all the time. I'm sorry you guys can't get it, but it's literally a lab sample for my old job and I am obsessed with it. So I refuse not to use it, but some of the brow gels I do recommend on the market are the Milani clear shaping brow gel. It's like a black tube with like a gold wand. That one is really, really good and it's like $8. I'm not a huge fan of the Anastasia Beverly Hills clear brow gel. I just feel like it makes my eyebrows really crunchy, and for that much money, like I don't want that to be the case. Like when I set my brows, I like to brush them all the way up. I feel like it just makes them look fuller and more like fluffy, and especially like this part right here, my brow hairs tend to go this way, so I like to brush them up and like towards the middle. Like that. So now is the point when I go in and I carve my eyebrows. The concealer I've been using recently is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I've also used the NYX concealer, like pot concealer before. This, I know it's super bougie to be using like a $30 concealer just to carve out your brows, but that's just what I've been doing. I don't know, I really like this concealer. I do highly recommend it. I don't think it's necessary to carve out your brows, but it does last really well. It blends really nice and easily. So I do recommend it, but I don't think it's necessary to pay that much money for a concealer just to carve out your brows. So the brush I use is just a concealer brush. I either use this one from Sigma. This is the F75 concealer brush, or I use the Makeup Forever concealer brush. But I know a lot of people like more detailed brushes than this, but this just makes it a lot easier for me. So I basically just go ahead and trace the outline of the brow I just made. And then I just take the brush and blend it out. That's why I like using like this bigger kind of brush, because you can blend it out a lot easier than with one of those like detailed brushes. And doing this step is really just gonna make your brow look a lot cleaner and more like defined and finished, you know? Like I never skip this step, because my brows just like don't look the same without it. It really helps you hide any stray hairs you may have missed plucking, or maybe you messed up the brow a little bit and you go ahead with this and it just cleans it all up and makes it look nice and uniform. And you can also go ahead and take this on your lid and use it as an eyeshadow primer as well. Oh, I think I fucked up. I definitely fucked up. Okay, this is why I can't talk and do this, because I messed up. So if you do mess up, you can just go back with your brow pencil and fix it. But yeah, this is why I usually don't talk during this stuff. And I usually pick between the two colors that I have. If I'm doing more of a dramatic eye, I go in with the lighter shade. This is Chantilly. But if I'm doing just like an everyday look, I go in with Creme Brulee, which is like my actual skin color. But it doesn't honestly matter. I just like do that because I like the really pronounced brow with like the highlight around it for when I do like more dramatic looks. But as you can see the difference between this brow and this brow, this one looks a lot cleaner, sharper, just more precise and finished. This brow just looks super fluffy and natural. This one looks a lot more precise and clean. Obviously, you can decide which look you like better. This is obviously the look I go for. So yeah, now I did both brows. This one I just did silently so that I could get it done quicker. And I didn't want to mess up by like talking during. But then I usually go around with my fingers and blend everything out so like there's nothing too like heavy, just like kind of sink it into the skin a little bit more with my fingers, the concealer. And then that is basically the brows. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup now, and I will come back and show you guys how it looks like with the finished look. But yeah, these are the brows basically. Okay, you guys, my makeup is on and my brows are complete. This is what the brows look like with a full face of makeup on. Obviously a lot more done up and not as, you know, unfinished. If you're gonna take any product away from this video, I highly recommend that you go out and get the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. This product absolutely changed my brow game. I've been getting compliments on my brows ever since I started using this, and I just feel like it's a super user-friendly and easy product to work with. It also lasts all day and you won't have your brows dripping down your face throughout the day. So yeah, if you're gonna get anything, I would definitely get this. The rest of the products I love as well, but this is definitely the game changer. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Vlogmas. I know a lot of you guys asked for this video, so I wanted to bring it to you. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to our last episode of Vlogmas. It's actually gonna be a vlog of my Christmas Eve night tonight. I'm getting ready to go to my mom's house now. But thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you tomorrow. Merry Christmas.